Hey everyone, and welcome to this deep dive. Today we're tackling the quest for an HIV vaccine.
Yeah.
This is a 40-year battle. We've seen a lot of progress, but we still haven't gotten to that finish line yet.
Right.
So we're going to explore what the landscape looks like now as we approach 2025 and beyond.
Yes, it's a good one.
Yeah, and one of the things that's really interesting about this is that even with a vaccine potentially on the horizon, testing remains as crucial as ever.
Absolutely.
So buckle up, because we've got cutting-edge science to unpack some potential breakthroughs to discuss, and we're going to tackle exactly why testing remains so important, even as we inch closer to that holy grail.
It's true. It really highlights the complexity of this virus.
Yeah.
We've got amazing tools like pre-PP and antiretrovirals.
Yeah.
They've been game changers for so many people.
Yeah.
But a vaccine would just be a whole new level of impact.
Right, and the source material points out that 13% of people with HIV in the US don't even know they have it, which is a huge number, and it makes you realize a vaccine alone isn't going to be the solution.
No, it's not. That's a critical point. A vaccine would be a massive leap forward, no doubt about it.
Right.
But it has to be part of a larger strategy.
Yeah.
One that includes widespread testing.
Of course.
And treatment.
Yeah.
Think about it. A vaccine might offer protection.
Yeah.
But we still need to know who needs it, who's already infected,
Right.
and then how do we make sure everyone has access to it?
Of course.
So testing is essential.
Yeah, it's essential across the board.
Across the board.
So let's dive into the science a little bit.
Okay.
The video talks about the mRNA revolution. And of course, this made huge headlines with the COVID vaccines.
Yes.
So is this the same tech being applied to HIV, or is there a twist?
It is the same mRNA technology,
Okay.
but applying it to HIV is a whole other ballgame.
Right.
Remember, one of the biggest hurdles with HIV is its ridiculously fast mutation rate. We're talking tens of thousands of times faster than the flu.
Wow.
Yeah.
That really puts it into perspective.
Yeah.
So how do you even begin to design a vaccine for something that changes so rapidly?
Well, that is the million-dollar question.
Right.
Researchers are exploring how to use mRNA to target specific HIV proteins
Okay.
that are less prone to mutation.
Okay.
Those are the weak spots.
Yeah.
Those are the things that we need to exploit.
Gotcha.
There's one trial in particular to watch. It's Moderna's mRNA 1644.
Okay.
It's already shown some promising results in Phase I, and we're eagerly awaiting the Phase 3 trials,
Oh, wow.
which should kick off by 2025.
Okay.
This could be a real contender in the vaccine race.
Okay.
Yeah.
So mRNA is one front in this battle, but the video also mentions something called super antibodies.
Yes.
It almost sounds like something out of a comic book.
Right.
What's the story there?
These super antibodies are officially called broadly neutralizing antibodies,
Okay.
or bNAbs, and they are incredibly potent.
Yeah.
What's so fascinating about them is that they can neutralize a huge range of HIV strains,
Oh, wow.
even the ones that have mutated significantly.
Okay.
It's like finding a universal key for a lock that keeps changing shape.
Right.
Yeah.
That's remarkable.
Yeah, it is.
But where do these super antibodies come from? Are they something we can just manufacture?
Oh, if only it were that simple.
Right.
They've been found naturally in a small percentage of people
Okay.
who have been living with HIV for years.
Right.
And somehow their immune systems have cracked the code
Wow.
and developed these super effective antibodies.
Okay.
So the challenge is figuring out how to replicate that success
Right.
on a larger scale.
So it's about harnessing the power of these rare individuals who've already shown us it's possible.
Exactly.
Okay. The video mentions a germline targeting approach.
Yeah.
What exactly does that involve?
It's a really clever strategy.
Okay.
We all have these precursor cells called germline B cells,
Right.
which have the potential to develop into a whole army of different antibodies,
Okay.
including those bNAbs.
Okay.
So what researchers are trying to do is essentially train those B cells,
Okay.
give them the right signals and stimulation to become those super antibody factories that we need.
So it's almost like boot camp for our immune cells.
Yes.
Teaching them to become elite HIV fighters.
Right.
Are there any trials using this approach that are showing promise?
The International AIDS Vaccine Initiative,
Right.
or IAVI,
Gotcha.
and Scripps Research,
Right.
they have some promising early results.
Oh, wow.
They've managed to elicit those bNAb responses in trials,
Oh.
which is a huge step.
Yeah.
However, the big question is whether this approach will yield something substantial by 2025.
Yeah.
It's a complex process, and it might be an ambitious timeline to actually see it being implemented widely.
It sounds like we're on the cusp of something incredible, but there's still a lot of work to be done.
Yes.
Speaking of hurdles, the video also brings up the Janssen Mosaic vaccine trial failure in 2023.
That must have been a huge setback for the field.
It was definitely disappointing, but, science is full of twists and turns.
Yeah.
The Mosaic vaccine was designed to target multiple HIV strains at once.
Right.
Which is a groundbreaking idea.
Okay.
And it did trigger immune responses, but ultimately it wasn't enough to prevent infections.
So even though it worked on paper, the virus still found a way to outsmart it.
Exactly. And one of the main culprits is, you guessed it,
Yeah.
that rapid mutation rate.
Right.
The virus is constantly changing its disguise, making it incredibly difficult for any one vaccine to keep up.
Right. It's like HIV threw us a curveball.
Yeah.
But as you mentioned, researchers are already adapting. So let's talk about those next-gen Mosaic designs and what they're doing differently.
The new wave of Mosaic vaccines are combining mRNA technology
Okay.
with other platforms like viral vectors.
Okay.
Think of the AstraZeneca Ebola vaccine as an example.
Right.
The idea is to create a multi-pronged attack,
Yeah.
eliciting stronger.
And longer-lasting immune responses.
Okay.
And they're also strategically targeting those less mutable regions of the virus.
Okay.
Those conserved areas
Gotcha.
that are essential for HIV's survival.
Okay.
It's like finding the Achilles heel
Yeah.
and focusing all our efforts there.
It sounds like a constant back and forth,
It is.
trying to outmaneuver the virus and anticipate its next move.
Yes.
But then the video takes a turn,
Right.
and it starts talking about therapeutic vaccines,
Okay.
calling them a dark horse in the HIV fight.
Yes.
How do these differ from the preventative vaccines we've been discussing?
That's a great question. So while preventative vaccines aim to stop infection from happening in the first place,
Right.
therapeutic vaccines are designed for people who are already living with HIV.
Okay.
The goal is to control the virus within their bodies,
Mm-hmm.
potentially leading to a functional cure.
A functional cure. That sounds almost too good to be true. What does that mean in practical terms?
It means suppressing the virus to such low levels that it's undetectable by standard tests.
Wow.
So imagine a scenario where someone with HIV could stop taking antiretroviral therapy
Right.
without the virus bouncing back.
Wow.
They would essentially be in a state of long-term remission.
Okay.
Yeah,
That would be life-changing for millions of people.
absolutely.
Are there any therapeutic vaccines on the horizon that are showing promise?
One that really stands out is AELELIX002's HTI vaccine.
Okay.
It's currently in phase 2 trials,
Okay.
and it has shown some very encouraging results, specifically in reducing those pesky viral reservoirs.
Those reservoirs, we talked about those earlier, they're like
Yeah.
the virus's hideouts, right?
They are.
Even when antiretroviral therapy is suppressing the virus in the blood, it can still linger in these reservoirs
Right.
and reactivate if treatment is stopped.
Exactly. They are a major obstacle
Yeah.
to achieving a cure.
Gotcha.
But what's fascinating about HTI
Yeah.
is that it's been shown to shrink those reservoirs
Wow.
in patients who have stopped taking antiretroviral therapy.
Okay.
This is a huge step towards that functional cure
Right.
that we were talking about.
So it's like finally having a weapon that can target those viral hideouts.
Yes.
But the video takes it even further.
Right.
It mentions the possibility of combining therapeutic vaccines with gene editing
Yeah.
using CRISPR. Now that sounds like science fiction.
It does.
How would that even work in the context of HIV?
It is cutting-edge stuff, no doubt.
Yeah.
So the idea is to use CRISPR to target and remove the HIV DNA
Right.
that's integrated into the host cell's genome,
Okay.
basically editing out the virus's hiding spots at the genetic level.
So CRISPR would act like a molecular scalpel,
Yes,
precisely snipping out those bits of HIV DNA from our cells.
that's a great way to put it.
Wow.
While this is still in very early stages of research,
Right.
the potential of combining a therapeutic vaccine like HTI with CRISPR to completely eliminate those HIV reservoirs is incredibly exciting.
Yeah.
We could be talking about long-term remission,
Wow.
where the virus is essentially undetectable
Sucker.
and unable to make a comeback.
This is truly mind-blowing.
It is.
It sounds like we're on the verge of transforming HIV from a life-altering diagnosis into a manageable chronic condition.
Hopefully.
But let's shift gears for a moment and talk about making these advancements accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
The video emphasizes the crucial role of testing labs in preparing for potential vaccine rollouts.
They will be absolutely vital.
Yeah, what does that look like in practice?
Well, they'll be responsible for accurately measuring the effectiveness of the vaccines in trials,
Okay.
and then preparing for a massive surge in demand for testing once a vaccine is available.
Right.
Globally, we'll need to identify those who need to be vaccinated
Yeah.
and those who might already be infected.
Right.
So labs need to be prepared for that influx.
Okay, so it's about scaling up operations.
Yes.
Making sure there is enough trained personnel,
Right.
equipment,
Yes.
and testing kits to meet that demand.
Exactly.
But is there more to it than just increasing capacity?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Ensuring equitable access to testing is crucial.
Yeah,
We need to break down barriers and make testing affordable and readily available to everyone,
of course.
regardless of their location, their socioeconomic status, or any other obstacle they might face.
Right.
That means reaching remote communities,
Yeah,
marginalized populations,
right.
and those who might be hesitant to get tested due to stigma or fear of discrimination.
Of course. It's not just about having the tests, it's about making sure the right people get tested.
Absolutely.
But the video also mentions the importance of trial diversity,
Yeah.
particularly including women, LGBTQ plus communities,
Right.
and people of color.
Yes.
Why is this so crucial?
Because different populations can have different immune responses to vaccines and treatments.
Okay.
Factors like genetics, lifestyle, and environmental exposures
Right.
all play a role.
Yeah.
If clinical trials aren't diverse, we can't be sure that a vaccine or treatment will be equally effective for everyone.
So it's not just about social justice, it's about ensuring that the science is sound
It is.
and that any treatment we develop will actually work for everyone who receives it.
Exactly. Historically marginalized communities have been underrepresented in research,
Right.
and that's led to disparities in health outcomes
Right.
and a lack of trust in the medical system.
Of course.
So it's essential to prioritize inclusivity to ensure that everyone benefits from scientific progress.
It's a really important point. Science needs to be for everyone, not just a select few.
Right.
And that brings up another key issue raised in the video.
Okay.
The question of cost and accessibility once a vaccine is developed.
Yeah.
We've seen this play out with other life-saving medications
Right.
where patents and high prices can create significant barriers to access.
Yes.
So is this a concern with potential HIV vaccines as well?
It's a definite concern and something advocates are already working to address.
Oh, okay.
Patents are important for incentivizing innovation,
Right.
but they can also lead to monopolies and exorbitant prices that make treatments inaccessible to those who need them most.
Yeah, so it's a balancing act
It is.
between rewarding innovation and ensuring that everyone benefits from those innovations.
Yes.
What are some of the solutions being explored to address this?
Well, there are a few different models being considered.
Okay.
Some advocate for open licensing agreements,
Okay.
which would allow for the production of more affordable generic versions of the vaccines.
Okay.
Others are calling for government subsidies
Mm-hmm.
or price controls to make sure vaccines are accessible regardless of income.
Okay.
It's a complex issue, but it's encouraging to see people working to ensure that a future HIV vaccine will be available to everyone who needs it.
It's a reminder that scientific progress is just one piece of the puzzle.
Yes.
We need to address those social and economic factors that create health disparities and ensure that everyone has access to the care they need. This has been a truly eye-opening discussion.
Yes, it has.
We've gone deep into the science behind HIV vaccines, explored the challenges, the triumphs,
Yes,
and highlighted the importance of a holistic approach
absolutely.
that tackles both the scientific and social aspects of this global epidemic.
Well.
What are your final thoughts on what the future holds for the fight against HIV?
It's an exciting time to be involved in HIV research.
Yeah.
The progress in recent years has been incredible, and there's a real sense of hope in the air.
That's great.
You know, a fully realized HIV vaccine by 2025 might be ambitious,
Right.
but we're getting closer every day.
Yeah.
Advancements in mRNA technology,
Right.
bNAbs, therapeutic vaccines,
Yeah.
and gene editing
Right.
are paving the way for a future where HIV is no longer a life-altering diagnosis,
Yeah.
but a manageable condition.
That's an incredibly hopeful perspective. But it's clear that science alone won't solve this. We need education,
We do.
advocacy,
Yes,
and a commitment to social justice.
absolutely. You're absolutely right. Ending the HIV epidemic will require a collective effort. Scientists, policymakers, healthcare providers, advocates, and individuals all working together.
Yeah.
We need to break down barriers, challenge stigma,
Right.
and make sure everyone has access to prevention testing and treatment. It's a powerful message of hope, but it's also a call to action.
Right.
We all have a role to play in this fight.
Absolutely.
You know, it's remarkable how much progress we've made. But
Yeah.
there's still a lot of work to do.
Right.
And before we move on, I did want to circle back to the potential of those therapeutic vaccines, particularly AELIX002's HTI, which we were discussing before. You touched upon shrinking those viral reservoirs, a challenge that once felt insurmountable.
It did.
Could you elaborate a bit on how this vaccine actually achieves that?
It really is a game changer if it works as hoped. I'm still wrapping my head around how a vaccine can target those viral hideouts.
Right.
Especially since they're so good at evading the immune system.
Yeah.
So what's the mechanism behind HTI?
What's interesting is HTI doesn't directly attack those reservoirs.
Oh, okay.
It kind of works by giving the immune system a much-needed boost.
Okay.
Helping it recognize and target infected cells more effectively.
So it's like...
Think of it as enhancing the immune system's ability to seek and destroy.
Okay.
And when it can better identify and eliminate those infected cells,
right,
the viral reservoirs naturally begin to shrink.
So it's like equipping the immune system with a more powerful searchlight to pinpoint those hidden infected cells.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And the phase 2 trials are showing promising results.
That's great.
They've demonstrated a significant reduction in those viral reservoirs in patients who've stopped antiretroviral therapy.
Wow.
So this suggests that HTI could help those with HIV control the virus without needing lifelong medication.
Right.
A huge step toward a functional cure.
It's incredible to think about the possibilities if this pans out.
It is.
But the video also talked about pairing therapeutic vaccines with gene editing using CRISPR. That sounds straight out of a science fiction movie.
It does.
Can you break down how that would actually work in the context of HIV?
It's cutting-edge science with immense potential.
Yeah.
The idea is to use CRISPR to target and actually eliminate HIV DNA that has integrated itself into a host cell's genome.
Okay.
We're talking about editing out those viral hideouts at the most fundamental level, the genetic code itself.
It's like CRISPR acts as a molecular surgeon.
Exactly.
Going in and precisely removing those snippets of HIV DNA from our cells.
Precisely. It's still early days for this research.
Of course.
But imagine combining a therapeutic vaccine like HTI, which suppresses the active virus, with CRISPR to eliminate those reservoirs.
Yeah.
We could potentially see long-term remission where the virus is undetectable and can't rebound.
It's a future I think we all hope to see.
We do.
But for now, let's zoom out a bit and discuss the logistics of turning these scientific advancements into a reality for everyone.
Okay.
The video highlighted the vital role of testing labs in preparing for vaccine rollouts.
Yes.
So what would that preparation involve?
Testing labs will be on the front lines.
Yeah.
They'll need to be ready for a huge spike in demand for HIV testing once a vaccine becomes available.
Right.
Globally, we will need to identify those who need to be vaccinated and those who might already be infected.
Right.
So labs need to be prepared for that influx.
So it's about scaling up their operations, making sure they have enough trained staff, equipment, and testing kits to meet that potential demand.
Right.
Is that all, or are there other factors to consider?
There's more to it than just ramping up capacity.
Okay.
Ensuring equitable access to testing is crucial.
Yeah, of course.
We need to make sure testing is available and affordable for everyone, no matter where they live, their economic situation, or any other barriers they might face.
Right. That means reaching remote communities,
Yes.
marginalized populations, and those who might avoid testing due to stigma or fear of discrimination. We need to remove those obstacles.
We do. It's a multi-pronged approach.
Yeah.
We need to invest in things like mobile testing units.
Right.
And community outreach programs.
Right.
Educational campaigns are vital too. To raise awareness about testing's importance.
Yeah.
And we can't forget the cost factor. Testing needs to be affordable, period.
It's about making testing as convenient and accessible as possible.
Yes.
Which makes complete sense.
It does.
The video also emphasized the importance of diversity in clinical trials. Could you talk a bit more about why including women, LGBTQ+ communities, and people of color is so critical?
It's crucial because these groups can have different immune responses to vaccines and treatments.
Okay.
Genetics, lifestyle, environmental exposures.
Right.
All of these factors can influence how a person responds.
Yeah.
So if clinical trials aren't diverse,
Right.
we can't be sure that a vaccine or treatment will be equally safe and effective for everyone.
So it goes beyond just representation.
It does.
It's about making sure the science is sound.
Yes.
and benefits everyone, not just a subset of the population.
You hit the nail on the head.
Okay.
We've seen the consequences of underrepresentation in research,
Right.
leading to health disparities and a lack of trust in the medical system.
Of course.
So prioritizing inclusivity in trials is non-negotiable if we want everyone to benefit from scientific progress.
I think that's a really important takeaway for our listeners.
It is.
Science needs to serve all of us.
Yes.
And that brings us to another issue raised in the video.
Okay.
The potential cost and accessibility hurdles once a vaccine is developed and approved.
Right.
We've seen this with other life-saving medications where patents and high prices create barriers for those who need them most.
Yes, we have.
So is this a concern with HIV vaccines?
It's a valid concern
Yeah.
and one that advocates are actively trying to address.
Okay.
While patents incentivize innovation,
Right.
they can also lead to monopolies and exorbitant prices.
Yeah.
The challenge is finding a balance,
Right.
rewarding innovation while ensuring everyone benefits.
So what are some potential solutions to this dilemma?
There are a few paths being explored.
Okay.
Open licensing agreements, allowing for the production of more affordable generic versions, are one option.
Okay.
Government subsidies or price controls could also help ensure vaccines are accessible regardless of income. It's a complex issue with no easy answers,
Right.
but it's heartening to see people working to make a future HIV vaccine available to all.
It's a powerful reminder that scientific breakthroughs are only part of the solution.
Yes, they are.
We can't forget the social and economic factors that contribute to these disparities and limit access to care.
Precisely. Addressing those systemic issues is crucial. Now, I'm curious, from all that we've discussed so far,
Yeah.
from the intricacies of vaccine development to the complexities of equitable access, what stands out to you as the most significant takeaway?
Yeah.
What has resonated most with you?
You know, honestly, what's really struck me is the sheer complexity of this challenge. It's not just about the science,
Right.
which is mind-boggling in itself,
It is.
but all these intertwined social and economic factors that play such a huge role. It's a stark reminder that even if we develop a safe and effective vaccine, our work isn't done.
No, it's not.
We have to make sure it reaches everyone who needs it, which is a whole other battle.
Absolutely. The video we discussed really emphasized the need for ongoing engagement, for
Right.
not letting this topic slip from the spotlight.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so easy to get caught up in our daily lives and forget that HIV still profoundly impacts millions worldwide.
Yes.
So what can we as individuals do to contribute to this fight?
Well, the first step is simple but powerful.
Okay.
Educate ourselves.
Right.
The more we understand about HIV,
Mm-hmm.
the latest research, the
Yeah.
complexity surrounding it, the
Right.
better equipped we are to challenge stigma, advocate for change,
Yeah.
and support those living with HIV. Knowledge is truly power in this case.
It is amazing how far we've come scientifically.
It is.
Yet stigma and misinformation still cast such a long shadow.
Yes,
It really highlights the need for those open and honest conversations about HIV.
absolutely. Talking about it with friends, family, and within our communities can help normalize the topic
Right.
and break down those harmful stereotypes
Of
and
course.
misconceptions.
Yeah, it's about fostering a culture of empathy and understanding.
Yes.
A space where people feel safe getting tested, seeking treatment, and supporting each other without judgment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we can also support organizations doing incredible work on the ground.
Yeah.
Those providing prevention services, testing and treatment around the world. Even small contributions or volunteering our time can make a difference.
The video also highlighted the power of regular testing.
Absolutely.
It's a simple act,
It is.
but it can have a potentially far-reaching impact.
It can. Knowing your status empowers you to make informed decisions about your health and to access treatment early if needed.
Right.
It's about taking charge of your health and playing a part in protecting yourself and your community.
This deep dive has been an incredible journey. We've explored the cutting-edge science, the hurdles, the breakthroughs, and the importance of a holistic approach that addresses both the scientific and social dimensions of this epidemic.
We have.
So what's the most important message you hope our listeners take away from this conversation?
The key takeaway is that while we may not have a fully realized HIV vaccine in hand just yet,
Right.
we are moving closer every day.
Yeah.
The pace of research is remarkable, and there's a palpable sense of hope in the field.
It's great.
But it's not a time for complacency.
Right.
We have to stay informed,
Yeah.
advocate for change, support research and equitable access, and prioritize our health and the health of our communities.
It's a powerful message, a blend of optimism and a call to action.
It is.
It reminds us that even in the face of a challenge as significant as HIV, there's always hope and a role for each of us to play.
Absolutely. Every step we take, however small, brings us closer to a future where HIV is no longer a threat.
Right.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah.
We hope you found it informative and empowering.
And until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged in the fight for a healthier world for all.